Hello everyone, how are you all? Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Devashri here. I was discussing about the spectroscopic techniques since from last two videos. We have done with the basic part of spectroscopic techniques. We have also completed UV visible spectroscopy. Now today in this part, we'll be discussing about the infrared spectroscopy, which is very important from a competitive point of view. Competitive point of view. So now coming to infrared spectroscopy. Uh, okay, coming to infrared spectroscopy. So what I was telling in the first video is that when an electromagnetic spectrum is applied to a sample, there are certain changes in both the sample as well as your electromagnetic spectrum, right? When we calculate either the sample or electromagnetic spectrum, we will get the concentration or structure, whatever we are looking for, right? But in case of infrared spectroscopy, if we compare it with UV visible spectroscopy, the energy of infrared spectroscopy is less. Remember, in the first video I have given you one flow chart. I have shown there the different energy levels of different electromagnetic waves, right? So if you compare infrared with your UV transition, the energy of infrared spectroscopy is less. As energy of infrared spectroscopy is less, so they do not undergo transition. They do not show transition. Instead, what they show, they do not show transition. Instead, they show your vibration, right? Now, what is vibration? When a particular electromagnetic radiation is applied to a sample of a wavelength equivalent to infrared spectroscope, infrared wave, then what exactly happens? The molecule shows vibrations. For example, say, let me change the color. Okay, if I take here carbon, and if suppose it is bonded with one hydrogen here and one hydrogen here, say these are two bonds, right? One is this and one is this. Now when I apply the electromagnetic spectrum of wavelength having infrared range, then what exactly happens? The as energy is less, so they do not undergo transition, but they will undergo rotation. There is a chance that rotation may take place either in the bone length or in the angle of the bone, right? So this is called vibration, and these two types of vibrations means what? They may undergo change in your bone length. Either the bone length may increase or either the bone angle may change, right? So depending on this, what exactly is going to happen is we divide these vibrations into two parts that we call stretching and bending, right? Now what is stretching? Stretching means what? Say for example, the bone length, if carbon is bonded to hydrogen, if the bone length increase or decrease, then we call it stretching, right? And if there is a change in the bone angle, then we call it bending, right? Okay, so now let's move to the slide. What is written here is infrared spectroscopy is used to determine the structure of a compound by studying interaction. By studying what? By studying interaction between matter and electromagnetic radiation. Right, that's we have already seen in our first class, right? Okay, infrared spectroscopy or vibrational spectroscopy is an analytical technique that make advantage of the vibration transition of a molecule. So here you need to remember that as infrared is having less energy compared to UV visible spectroscopy, so they shows basically vibrations, very important, right? Okay, when EMR is applied to sample or to it causes the vibration between the atoms of the molecules. Various chemical groups have specific vibration and rotation frequency and thus absorb IR is infrared, right? Light of specific wavelength and hence the characteristics peak value. That means how we are using it, because every compound, say for example hydroxide. Now hydroxide will vibrate at a different energy level compared to carbon hydrogen. right? So determining the energy level or determining the wavelength, we can find it out what is the functional group or what is the compound present. Understood? Okay, let me explain you in a very simple way in Hindi. I'll also explain. देखो, अगर कोई कोई एक हमें कंपाउंड है, हमें जानना है कि कौन सा ग्रुप है इस कंपाउंड में, राइट? तो हम बेसिकली यूज करेंगे इंफ्रारेड स्पेक्ट्रोस्कोपी. इसमें क्या होता है, इंफ्रारेड का जो वेवलेंथ होता है वो कम होता है, सॉरी, इंफ्रारेड का जो एनर्जी होता है वो कम होता है, राइट? और जब एनर्जी कम होता है तो वो ट्रांजिशन नहीं शो कर पाते हैं. अगर एनर्जी ट्रांजिशन के लिए हमेशा एनर्जी बहुत ज्यादा जरूरत होता है, राइट? अब हमें पता है कि इंफ्रारेड में एनर्जी कम होती है. हमें कैसे पता है? क्योंकि मैंने आपको फर्स्ट वीडियो में एक चार्ट दिया था, XUV ऐसा करके एक चार्ट दिया था. वहां पे मैंने आपको दिखाया था कि जो इंफ्रारेड है उनका जो एनर्जी है वो कम होता है कंपेयर टू यूवी विजिबल स्पेक्ट्रोस्कोपी. अब जब एनर्जी इंफ्रारेड का कम होता है तो वो ऑब्वियसली वो ट्रांजिशन नहीं शो कर पाएंगे, राइट? तो वो क्या करते हैं, वो मॉलिक्यूल के इटसेल्फ में ही कुछ वाइब्रेशंस शुरू करते हैं, राइट? जैसे उनको लाइट मिलती है तो वो जो वाइब्रेशंस होते हैं, वो वाइब्रेशंस की वजह से इधर तो बोन लेंथ में चेंजेस आते हैं या तो बोन एंगल में आते हैं, राइट? अगर वो बोन लेंथ में आते हैं तब हम उसको बोलते हैं क्या, स्ट्रेचिंग. और अगर वो एंगल के बीच में कुछ वेरिएशंस आते हैं तब हम उसको बोलते हैं बेंडिंग, राइट? ओके, सो लेट्स मूव टू द नेक्स्ट स्लाइड. ओके, सो मॉलिक्यूलर वाइब्रेशन के बेसिस पे मैंने ये चार्ट डिफाइन किया है. देखिए, यहाँ पे दो चीज होती है, स्ट्रेचिंग एंड बेंडिंग, जो मैंने आपको अभी समझाया, राइट? अगर हम स्ट्रेचिंग की बात करते हैं, ये तो या तो वो सिमेट्रिक हो सकता है या वो एसिमेट्रिक हो सकता है. सिमेट्रिक मतलब क्या? सपोज दिस इज कार्बन, इट इज बॉन्डेड टू दिस हाइड्रोजन, सॉरी फॉर तेरा हो गया हाइड्रोजन, राइट? एंड दिस इज वन हाइड्रोजन, फाइन. अब क्या होगा अगर मैंने इनको लाइट दिया, अगर चेंजेस होगा, राइट? सिमेट्रिक में क्या होता है, अगर ये बोन का लेंथ लंबा है, हो रहा है, इफ दिस बोन इज गेटिंग इंक्रीज्ड देन दिस बोन विल आल्सो इंक्रीज, राइट? बोथ द चेंजेस विल बी इक्वल. क्लियर? सो दिस विल बी योर symmetric variations. Here changes will be very equal. But if we talk about asymmetric variations, what exactly happens in asymmetric variations? Here what happened, one bone will increase, say this is increase, and one will your decrease. This is not asymmetric, right? So this is what exactly happens in symmetric and asymmetric part. Clear? Okay, now come to bending part. If we talk about the bending part, it is of two types, in plane bending and out plane bending, right? In plane bending means what? When the say I told you bending exactly happens when bending happens, yes, when the bone angle get changes, right? Bone angle means this is suppose hydrogen and suppose this is hydrogen, right? Now, if this bone shifts to either in this part, the bone may shift either in this direction or in this direction, right? So, depending on this movement, we call it basically in plane and out plane, right? In plane means if it is in the same plane, and if we talk about the out plane, that means what? There are two different planes, right? You got the point, in plane and out plane, right? So if we talk about in plane, it is of two types. We call it rocking and scissoring. If you have seen the scissor, how it moves like this, right? Rocking, you will this part you will get it more clear in the diagram in the upcoming slide, right? So I will explain you this in the upcoming slide with diagram so that it becomes clear for you all. Okay. Next, this is stretching vibration. See here, it is a change in the length of the interatomic bone. So this is one atom, this is one atom, right? It is joined by two bone. In case of symmetric, see both the arrow, right? Like this. In case of asymmetric, one is decreasing and another one is another one is increasing, right? So this is all about your stretching vibration. This is a change in the bone length, right? Okay, next we will see here bending. So if we talk about bending, I told you it is of two types, in plane and out plane. If we talk about in plane, it is scissoring and rocking, and if we talk about out plane, it is wagging. So what is scissoring basically? Scissoring means what? When both the atoms approach towards each other. That means what? See, when both the atom approach towards each other, that we call it scissoring. Suppose say this is carbon, it is bonded with hydrogen here, and this is also bonded with hydrogen here, right? Now if they move towards each other, this will be moving to this side, this will be moving towards this side. So now the bond angle will decreases, right? So this we call scissoring. If we talk about rocking, rocking means what? Movement of atom takes place in the same direction. More clear, this part will be more clear with images, which will be the very next slide, right? Okay, coming to wagging. Wagging, two atom moves to one side of the plane, means they are moving to one side like this, right? Twisting, one atom move above the plane and other move below. Twisting means what? If one is moving in this part, right, other will be moving in this part, right? So this is all about bending. So let me explain you with this with diagram, right? So scissoring I have told you both move in this direction. So as a result, this angle will decrease, right? And if we see rocking, one is moving in this side, another one is moving in this side, right? So this is rocking. Out of plane is again of two types, wagging and twisting, right? Wagging means what? Above the plane, and twisting below the plane. Above the plane and below the plane means what? They are moving in same direction, right? And in case of twisting, one will be in this part, other will be this part. Clear? Yes. So this is all about the bending. Coming to application part, it is used for identification of specific functional group, determination of unknown contaminants in the industries. It is also used to identify atmospheric pollutants, also used to identify odor and taste, right? Okay. So if we see, this is a graph here. This is basically I have kept here to make you understand how we plot the graph, right? So if we have functional group hydroxide, then the graph will be like this. But for amine, the graph will be like this. Primary amine, right? So yes, see here, primary amine is brought to sharp peak. So they both undergo different kind of vibrations. Fine. If hydroxide is present, the frequency of vibrations will be different compared to your primary amine, right? And in case of hydroxide, you will be getting a round peak, but in case of primary amines, you will be getting a two sharp peak. Clear? Secondary amine also you will be getting one broad sharp peak. That means it is like that for secondary amine, and for tertiary amine there is no signal because there is no hydrogen, right? So that's all about IR bands. Hope you understood it, and if you have any queries, I have dropped my mail ID in the description box. You can drop your mail there, and if you like the video, please hit the like button and do subscribe, because this will motivate me in bringing more new videos, right? So thank you so much for watching this. Hope you like this. Thank you once again.